Grizzly Audio just dropped a new sample library called SECT. This sample pack features over 150 gritty, bowed, tortured string textures designed for modern horror scoring. Not only am I going to be giving you a quick walk through the library, but I'm also going to be composing a full horror-style trailer track using these sounds specifically. You'll see how the real magic happens once you start manipulating samples, distorting them, layering them, stretching them, whether they come from a professional library or your own recordings. Let's dive in and see what this sample pack can do. I was originally just going to compose a demo track and kind of go through and showcase like what I used and go over some of the different samples from the pack that I ended up using for this like short trailer. I got a little bit into it and I decided to kind of back up and actually go through and do it with you. I do get a lot of requests asking to kind of go over, elements of sound design using samples and stuff like that. And here is what we've got so far. We haven't done much. We're trying to keep this around like a minute and 30 seconds on this like kind of trailer track. Some of this I'm dropping just directly into Logic. You can kind of see like right here, I've just got the audio file there. But for certain instruments or certain samples, as I drag it in from my browser, I'm actually pulling it over into a sampler so that I can create an instrument out of it. And with those, I can kind of play with like pitch and things like that. So we started off with this drone and two different hits. The hits are, and this guy here. So that starts us off. We also have this that I also sampled, cut off the kind of beginning of it so that we just have the attack. So all together, and then this drone automates in, it kind of rises in. One other thing to keep in mind is a lot of these I will actually go in and try and keep the name pretty close to the sample, so that way if I need to know what the original sample was recorded at, with this particular library they did a really good job of, like, if you notice here, putting like F sharp was what it was sampled at, so that way you know what your sampler, like what the sample was recorded at, so you know where to, if you go too far one way or the other, too high or too low, it's going to start to sound completely different, which may be a good thing, but it's good to know where your kind of sample was recorded at. Two different drones, one's kind of fading out. This one is a bit of a cluster. The other is a half step away. So as you notice, one comes in, the other one starts to fade in as well. And then we do also, as always, have our MIDI automation going on here. And then coming out of the first section, we've just got two different risers. This particular sample library is very heavy on like the violin sounds. So think things like Insidious, movies like that. It's like a long cello riser. Then we've got this one. And I always try and do something a little bit different with a lot of any of the samples if I can, whether that's distortion, pitch, modulation, just any kind of effect. With this one, we just got a fair amount of distortion on, as you can hear it without. And it's actually pitched up 2 octaves. We have this riser that I stretched out. So I just went in and time stretched it. They have a lot of cool hits here. Just like a violin or a cello getting slapped with the bow. The only thing that is not from this Grizzly audio pack is I do have an instance of Ferrum that I'm literally only using one type of strike, just a trailer hit. I wanted one kind of traditional riser, damage, I don't know, pretty standard riser. Other than that, everything else is going to be completely Grizzly audio. Really, really great strikes in this library. So if we look at like the percussion section, but those are kind of very particular types of strikes, the wood and steel and like a bow smacking a cello or something like that. I did a 3/4 break just to kind of do something kind of off from the 4/4 for just a second to throw you off with this type of kind of horror genre. So coming out of our riser with our little bit of a break here, let's see what we've got. Now comes a choice of what do we want going on underneath this. We want to keep it simple. You've got 4 folders in this pack. You've got signature sounds, transitions, longs, and percussion. So we're going to go with a long. Let's see what we've got. Could be cool. That's actually really cool. I do want something else. I might actually go to signatures. I don't know that I want a drone just yet. I want to keep it a little bit dry and uncomfortable. And I feel like having that drone there is just going to make it too washy. There's no like space. I think I just want something like that. So this is C sharp. We're in D. That's the key center we're trying to stay in here. So I'm going to drag that down. I don't know where I want it to go yet. However, if it's in C sharp and we're in D, so we're going to pitch that up. So now, so once again, okay, I want it to come in either on beat 3 or on an offbeat. Let's see what that's like. I think I want it here. Yeah, I like that. We want a lot of verb. Not that much. The other thing I like to have going, I don't know if you can see this on my other screen over here. I've got a tuner up. So at any point, I've got that on the master bus just so as I'm kind of moving these samples around, the reason I keep a tuner on that is I can solo a track and make sure that as I'm pitching up and down, I'm not missing anything. So, I mean, that one, it's kind of bouncing around, but it's around D. But I've got that on just as a metering tool pretty much the whole time. With this, I don't want to keep it as is. So let's see what we can do to mangle it up. Been really liking this fat effects. See what we can do with this. Kind of like that. Bring that way down. Verby verb. Do want it to do kind of a hard cutoff on this last hit. So I want that gone there. Maybe signature sound here. Yeah, sure. Let's go with it. I made one already here, so let's see. That one became this. Just with the verb right on it and high passing it. after our like kind of break that we have here with the little cello, whatever it is, accent. I want to start picking it up a little bit. Let's go to longs and yeah, that's pretty weird. Let's drag that in. Now this sample is at 124, so it doesn't quite line up. So let's time stretch that a bit. So make it line up. That should be good. It's probably too loud, but all right, that's cool. From here, this is where we're working from now, but I'm definitely going to do something to this that we just brought in. It is cool. See what that guy sounds like with some verb in his life. I don't know that I want a hard break on it. Maybe I do. Let's see. Clean up your audio files. Yeah, I like that, but let's do some mangling. Never go wrong with distortion. When you use packs like this, I wouldn't pay close. I mean, I wouldn't like fixate on the key, find the sample that's right, and then you can always change it and adjust the pitch. But we're just looking for like what sounds good and what's going to fit the tone and texture of what we need. Like, I like that. It's in C sharp. We're in D, so we're going to go up. Oh, sorry. We're going to go up in pitch 1 to D. Not so much. Don't want it really hitting too much of the low. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, what do you actually want out of the sample? I don't need any of the lower information. So by cutting some of the lows, like quite a bit off, all the way up to like a little over 250, I'm able to adjust the volume up a little bit more, get more of the high, and I just get that attack because I've already got something kind of rumbling around down here, especially with the distortion that we added to it. So I don't need that. In fact, I could go a bit more so that I can increase the volume a bit. That's what I'm missing. So with a lot of these hits, I think I'm relying solely on Ferrum for these strikes, and that's fine. But I think right here, I want to start bringing in some of they've got some really cool, like cello percussion, violin hits, whatever they are. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I was missing. So where's the attack? Right about there. Are we lined up? Nope. That's what I was missing here too. I knew there was something. Yeah. Let's see what things are looking like now. So coming out of our beginning into this section. And this session is pretty messy. I'll go back and clean it up. But when I'm composing, I don't want the inspiration to go away. So I'm just throwing things out there really quick. And then I'll go in and clean up later. That might be cool. Let's see. We're just experimenting. All right, we need something really gross and aggressive here. I'm going to add this first with distortion, of course, with verb. Kind of notice a theme here. Distortion and verb is kind of my best friend. Kind of mixing on the go. I'm always kind of looking at what am I spiking at. I try and keep everything around -9. Crazy. Yeah, that's definitely weird. That'll work well. I don't know if this will work. We'll have to see. I don't want the low end, like crazy amount of high pass. Not working great with our beat or with our rhythm. Let's see how it lines up. If we can make this work. Let's bring up some flex view. Let's quantize it to quarters. And that's fine because what we're going to do is crush it, just destroy it. All right, so you got this crazy mess. I'm going to actually go in and put the verb right on top of it. That's pretty cool. So that's how you go from something like this to this. All right, another thing to kind of look at here is where are we at in our trailer? So our goal was 130. So where would 130 land? About right here. So I'm going to make a marker just so we know where our target is. And that lets us know kind of how much we've got left to write. So I want our like last couple in hits and go impact section to be right around here. So we're going to call that in hits. This is going to be our big build. And this is just how I do it. This is what makes sense to me. This section here is where we're going to start having a lot of our really big risers, really long risers come in. Now we need to figure out what we're going to do here. We've basically got 4 bars to build ultimate tension. Looking for the most disturbing things. I was checking that out earlier. That's kind of cool. This thing is going to come in here. All right. What I'm going to do here, I want these to provide the rhythmic element, but I am going to pan them. So we're going to have one here, and they're going to play off of each other at different points. Solo off. Again, I'm going to end up having a lot of low end going on, so I'm not really too concerned about cutting a lot of lows out of it. Cool. We got a lot of weird crap going on. Let's see what we're going to do for our rhythms. So, all right, let's work out how our hits are going to run. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. That's pretty typical. All right, so one other thing I wanted to do was kind of build this riser. So I've got that going on here. But I want to play with the pitch and saturate it. So let's go in and automate the pitch. So not only does it automate in volume, but also the semitones over time. I'm not loving it right now. And I think I'm just going to drive the crap out of it. That works great. That sounds much better. I really like that. Put that on this one. I love those. Let's add that here. What is my favorite? That's pretty badass right there. That's going to be our end hit, and it's going to be loud. I'm going to leave it at 0 decibels in its full glory. Once again, for context, let's see what we've got. See what it's like from this section. Final version at the end of this video. Also, I'll leave a link for the other video I did for Grizzly Audio on their other pack Origins, if you're interested in checking that out. But this is a phenomenal library for horror. It's worth every penny.